Thanks so much for joining today. This is attorney Stacy Vogeltans with Angermeyer and Rogers Law Firm. Today I'm going to talk about Medicaid planning using irrevocable trusts versus simply gifting assets away. A lot of people have come to know that Medicaid has a 5-year look-back period. What this means is if you go into a nursing home and you need to qualify for Medicaid, they will look back 5 years in the past and see if you've made any gifts or transfers. So people like to give assets away ahead of time to make sure that when they go into the nursing home doesn't get to take everything. They've given things to family members instead. Now, the easiest way to do this is simply to give those assets away. Let's say you have a brokerage account worth $100,000. You're not dipping into it for your daily needs, so you want to just gift that to your son and daughter. While that might seem like an easy and practical thing to do on the surface, it actually could create quite a bit of problems for you. So let's use that as the example. You've got $100,000 worth of stocks and you've given it to your son and your daughter. Now, your daughter decides to cash out her $50,000 and take her family down to Disney for a couple months. She's going all out on that trip. Your son decides he's going to invest in his own stocks, but unfortunately doesn't do very well, and he ends up losing half of the money in the stock market. So of the $100,000 you've given away, there's only $25,000 left in your son's name. Now let's say unexpectedly you have a stroke next year and you need to move into a nursing home. There's no way you can stay at home anymore. Well, you can actually undo that gift that was done the year before. Medicaid allows you to do that, but unfortunately the money isn't there to undo it. $75,000 worth of it is gone. There's no way to get that money back, which means there's no way to pay for the nursing home. A safer alternative would have been to put that money into an irrevocable trust. With the irrevocable trust, we would move the $100,000 worth of stock into the irrevocable trust and it would just sit there. Now, in the same situation, if you had had a stroke after a year and we didn't make it through the 5-year period, we can actually get that money back from the irrevocable trust. So even though it's called an irrevocable trust, there are ways that it can be undone. And that money is just sitting there. Nobody went and spent it. So it's a lot safer way to move assets out of your name than to actually gift it to your son or daughter. Another benefit of the irrevocable trust is tax avoidance. So again, let's take that same $100,000 gift. If you gift it to your kids and they cash out the stocks, they are going to pay capital gain on the stocks that they cash out. Capital gain is the difference between what you bought the stock at many years ago and what it's worth today. That difference between what you bought it for and what your kids sell it for is gain, and it is taxable to them. Now, let's say that instead of giving it to the kids, we put it in an irrevocable trust. If we put it in an irrevocable trust and it sits in the trust until you pass away, which is what it should do, it's not an early inheritance, it's just an inheritance we set aside. It sits in the trust until you pass away. When the kids go to cash out the stocks after you pass away, they will get what's called a step up in basis. What this means is that the capital gain on the stock has been completely erased. So when they cash out the stock, they won't be paying any capital gain tax. These are just a couple examples of benefits you get when using an irrevocable trust. There are quite a few more benefits. And if you'd like to learn more about those benefits, why don't you give me a call and we can talk about what other benefits might be available to you by using an irrevocable trust rather than gifting directly to your family. Thanks so much for tuning in.